I mean, topic number two, the Sweet 16 is the only thing that is on the docket for the next couple of days coming up here. So, what better thing to talk than the Sweet 16? Obviously, on Sleepers Media YouTube channel, we have like full in-game kind of breakdowns, going through matchups, playing styles, things like that. But what I want to do, Dion, on this, I want to keep it really short and sweet. I want to come away with one key for each team in their Sweet 16 game. So we'll go game by game, team by team, and come up with just like one sentence, one key on what that team needs to do to win their matchup in this game. So we'll start with Auburn and Michigan. What's the one thing that Auburn needs to do? Um, what's the key for them in this game?
Think they got to find their identity again. I think they got to get back to being who they were a month ago. And if they can do that, I mean, they go right back to being the best team in the country. But I feel like they've kind of lost their way a little bit the last few weeks.
Yeah, and you know what I think it is? Because I was gonna say the same thing. They used to play like such like underdog chip on their shoulder guys. And I
Yeah.
think that might have went away a little bit. I'm not really sure why, but they need to find that fire again because it kind of just seems like I mean they're talented and they made it this far, but like it seems like they are just sleepwalking just a wee bit.
Yeah, well,
Uh
they used to play like dickheads, and
yeah,
they need to get back to being dickheads.
get
They're a
back
little
to
too
being a
nice
dickhead.
right now.
Yeah, when in doubt, be a dickhead.
It,
What's the key for Michigan in this game?
I think take it Danny Wolf. I think Danny Wolf being able to pull Janai Broome out the paint, being able to pull Dylan Cardwell out the paint, utilize him as the ball handler and pick and rolls. Maybe you're able to get some switches. Um, I think that takes Auburn out of their game plan as well. So it really comes down to, that's the NBA guy, according to Dusty. And I don't disagree with it. But now we're getting to the point in the tournament where your NBA guy has to step up and be an NBA guy.
Yeah, I think that's the key, and also for Trey Donaldson not letting the game be bigger than or not letting like the thing with him being a former Auburn player be bigger than the moment in the team. I think he's been very cerebral in these past couple games of being a big time player. I just don't want him to let get caught up in the hoopla of that. Moving down to go ahead.
I just want to have one quickly. We just talked about how Auburn has to get back to being dickheads. LJ and Fat Fat do not instigate them getting back to being dickheads.
Please do not do that. Also, sayonara, Justin Pippen. All right, Ole Miss and Michigan State. We'll start with Ole Miss. I'll go first on this one. For me, I think Ole Miss needs to take advantage of the mismatches they will have when Michigan State is playing two bigs, right? They have Malik Dia, they have Jamin Brakefield, who they kind of play as like a little front court players. They're not really true front court players, I guess I would say. They can stretch the floor, they can put the ball on the floor. I think it's going to be key that those guys, even if it is small minutes for Zapala and those guys when they're on the floor together. On Michigan State side, I think this needs to be a big Cohen Carr game. But if not, when there are two bigs on the floor, I think Ole Miss needs to take advantage of that.
From an Ole Miss perspective, there's a stretch in every Michigan State game where they just don't make shots. You have to win that stretch by a lot. Because once they start making shots, they get stops on the other end whenever they want. For Michigan State, when you go through that stretch where you just aren't making shots, because there's always that like 5 or 6 minute period before you get to immediate timeout where Michigan State can't find the basket at all. Cohen Carr can whenever he wants. So like just sub him in the game and tell him to do the thing where he runs straight at the basket and either dunks it or gets fouled.
Yeah, I think so too. All right, Michigan State. What's the key for them in this game?
Yeah, Cohen Carr, Cohen Carr.
Yeah, I think Colin Carr's a good shot. For me, it's the glass. In a lot of Ole Miss's games this season, even when they shoot well, they have a tendency to get destroyed on the glass and they'll still lose the game. So Michigan State's one of the better offensive rebounding and defensive rebounding teams in the country. They need to assert their will on that end of the floor. Moving on down here, we have Florida versus Maryland. What's the one key for Florida in this game?
Um, Honestly, I don't think Florida got to just be Florida.
Yeah, I'll keep it simple here. Walter Clayton needs to be the best player on the floor. I think if Walter Clayton's the best player on the floor, they win. And that's not going to be easy because there's some other good players on the floor, and Maryland has Derek Queen. So I think Walter Clayton needs to be the best player on the floor. What's the key for Maryland in this game?
I think they got to space the floor a little bit better than they did against Colorado State. I felt like Colorado State was able to kind of like pack the paint on them and force them into taking some like really long threes as well. So I think they got to space the floor a little bit better. If you limit what you're able to do against Florida, you let them get up and down and run. I think you're in for a rough time. Derek Queen, also much like Walter Clayton, has to be the best player on the court.
Yeah, I think so too. I think I would add on to that. I think the front court battle is going to be a major one because I believe in Florida's front court defensively, and they have a really big test against Julian Reese and Derek Queen. So I think I'm looking to what that looks like in that matchup. Moving down, we have Texas Tech taking on Arkansas. What's one key for Texas Tech in this game?
I think it's the guards. So Arkansas is getting Boogie Flam back. They're kind of playing the Boogie Flam DJ Wagner backcourt together a little bit with Jonell. I think you saw Boogie and DJ. They both were passive when the other was on the court, trying to defer a little bit, let the other one be comfortable, make them uncomfortable if you're Texas Tech, because they already are. So if you apply pressure when they're on the court together and continue to make them uncomfortable, I think Arkansas could turn the ball over a lot.
Yeah, I'm also looking to see what McCaslin does defensively. I think that's going to be a key in this game. We saw what the zone did to Arkansas in that first game against Kansas. I don't think I obviously St. John's is in a zone team, and I don't know if they played much in that game, but I think Texas Tech playing zone would be massive in this game. And then obviously, I think finding the shooting form again too. Obviously, with they need to get guys back healthy, so the health is going to be key in that game as well. What's the key for Arkansas? I mean, for me. I think it is like just ride out this underdog mentality until you can't anymore. And no one expects you to win this game. You could play free. Maybe not no one expects you to win. That's a little bit too far. But obviously they're the underdog in this game. They made it to this point. You already knocked off St. John's and Kansas. Like I think you just need to keep on rolling with that.
I think it's a Adu Tierra too, right? You're getting him back, presumably. Like, I guess it's not official, but the way they reported his injury during the St. John's games, it feels like more likely he plays than he doesn't.
Mm,
How you get him back involved, how you continue to get Boogie back involved, like your talent's back. So how are you going to get them involved in this game? And if you do it the wrong way, you'll get blown out.
facts. All right, moving on up here, we have Duke versus Arizona. What's one key for Duke?
Uh, uh, you better make shots against Arizona because if you let them run, they will score. I don't care who the other team is.
Yeah, and I think it's avoiding the Caleb Love masterclass. But even so, if it is that Caleb Love masterclass, I think the real key is like making sure that other guys also don't get like you can't have Trey Townsend giving you 15 and then like KJ Lewis giving you like 12. I think it's you need to make it more singular than anything. And then on the other hand, for Arizona, good luck. No, not good luck, but they're a really good team. I think the physicality is something that they should use to their advantage. The physicality and also the experience factor that they have. Duke does play a lot of young guys, and they've been very composed up to this point. But I think Arizona needs to muck this game up a little bit, use their experience, use their physicality, and it might not work. I'll tell you that right now. But that's the way they should approach this.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it'll work for Arizona. My gut reaction is no matter what they do, it won't work against this Duke team. But I mean, if you buy into the Caleb Love, like, hey, I got one last shot at Duke thing, and we just rally around that. The only problem is like I don't know if Cooper Flag cares about what happened in some of them Duke Caleb Love games. He was like a sophomore in high school during some of that stuff. So I'm not sure how big of a reaction you're going to get from Duke if that's what you buy into. But I mean, I would say just buy into that, kind of rally around the Caleb Love revenge stuff.
Yeah, I think so too. BYU versus Bama. What's one key for BYU?
Let them shoot. Just let them shoot. Like Bama can't shoot, so just let them do their thing. Bama's freakishly athletic. If you let them out athlete you, I think you'll have an issue. But let them shoot.
Yeah, I think it's inviting them to shoot threes. And if they make it, you adjust, but like the numbers say that they're not just going to knock down a high level of threes. And also, I think BYU needs to take a lot of threes in this game because I think they can out Bama is how I like to put it. I think that's a good way to do it. On the flip side, for Bama, the one key for me would be to not settle for threes. Like on the same token, like they are such a a good team, and Mark Sears is so good at getting downhill, and you have Amrui as the lob threat, and you have a lot of guards like Phylon that can get downhill. I know BYU is a physical team, but I think you need to meet that physicality and not shy away from the hoop. And Grant Nelson needs to be big in this game as well.
Yeah, I mean, I've said this all year. My biggest frustration with Bama is I think if they stop shooting threes, they're the best team in the country. So that's been my key for them since November.
Yeah, 100%. Houston versus Purdue. What's one key for Houston in this game?
You got to stop Braden. Everything Purdue does, they go as Braden goes. So take Braden out of what he wants to do, and I think you'll be able to get the results you're looking for.
Yeah, I think I go on the same. I cut the head of the snake off. Braden creates so many things for himself, for TKR, for others on this team. I think he's got to be obviously he's the main focus, but I think sometimes it shifts from people like, oh, we want to stop TKR from going down low. It starts with Braden, right? And on the flip side of this, for Purdue, the key for me is you got to take care of the basketball. They turn the ball over. Braden turns it over 8 times against McNeese. He's had some turnover issues as late. You turn the ball over against Houston, you are going to get blown out. They will take advantage. You will get blown out. You got to take care of the basketball. I think that'd be the key for Purdue.
Yeah, I think for Purdue, it's play with the passion Braden plays with. You saw it in the game against McNeese. I don't know what Braden didn't like about that McNeese team, but Braden took that game very personally, and he wanted to bury McNeese State. He's going to come out with that same level of intensity and passion. Everybody's got to fall in line because you do kind of have to play perfect to beat this Houston team.
Agreed. And last game, Kentucky, Tennessee. What's the key for Kentucky?
Keep rolling defensively. You said a stat yesterday, I believe it was from the comment section, where they're 11th in the country since they played Ole Miss defensively.
Yeah.
Keep that rolling because nobody can stop you offensively.
Yeah, I think the defense is going to be a key in this one. And also coming up with some confidence. Like you beat this team twice. Don't listen to that whole like 3-0, like it's hard to beat a team 3 times thing. It's not. I think it's going to be key in this game. And then on the flip side for Tennessee, the key to me in this game is I feel like Tennessee's seasons have ended like the same way, kind of. Like they just haven't been able to like find the form. Like it goes one of two ways. Like they're great offensively, like they were last season, but they couldn't get the stops against Purdue,
Mhm.
or they just get a crazy amount of stops, but they can't score. I just think it's going to be massive for them. It might come down, honestly, and it scares me to the point guard matchup. Like you have 2 point guards that have played a lot of basketball, have played a lot of NCAA tournament basketball, have had the accolades. Like who's going to win the matchup between Zakai Ziegler and Lamont Butler? And also not making it as much about themselves as well. Like Zakai Ziegler needs to realize who he has around him, get Chaz Lanier shots, get other guys involved. But I think it's going to come down to the point guard matchup. So uh, if you're looking for keys to the game and the Sweet 16 games, we got y'all covered. On to topic 3. It is March, and that means that March Madness is upon us. And if you are looking for a place to play, Underdog Fantasy has you covered. Sign up and deposit using code SLEEPERS, that's code SLEEPERS, to receive up to $1,000 in bonus credit plus a free pick. Head over to Underdog Fantasy today and use promo code SLEEPERS to take advantage of this amazing offer.